my mental health declined so rapidly that I don't even think I was there for a year
Now you were sick.
before my butt had to sit down.
You got sick. It was you can barely breathe.
I could barely breathe.
And that was a that was a bad time.
That was a bad time. And it was bad before I got sick because you were basically handling every single thing in the household.
Yeah.
We had absolutely no relationship. All you did was make sure I went to bed, make sure I got up.
Can you imagine a man not being able just to get that good loving, that good tender rubbing, that good tender, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Look at how they saying the baby, nah, mean.
You play
But-
too much.
Can you imagine? So, Big Shay, that's enough of talking about me. But when was a time that you remember that your mental health was declining? I know we talked about plenty of them on the podcast, but
I mean, a lot. Like I have so many times that I could talk about, in all fairness, honesty, that my mental health was declining. But I kind of want to talk about when I transitioned from corporate America to becoming an entrepreneur.
okay.
I had been working for a company for about 12 years at the time, and a promotional opportunity came up. And I was like, oh, this is when, more money was like, ooh, the promotion, more money, not really calculating more money means more problems,
More
more
responsibilities.
responsibilities, less time with your family, more driving, things like that. So I went out on the ledge, took the promotion. The job was about an hour and 15 minutes away from home, and I had to be there at 4:00 in the morning.
Right.
I would work about 12 hours, sometimes getting off between 4 and 5 p.m., then driving back home and getting home around, I don't know, sometimes close to 7 o'clock. But in order for me to get back up at 3 o'clock, I would have to be in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Which meant that I had a lot less face time with my family. Eating was bad, sleeping was bad, felt really unhappy, felt like I actually made a big mistake taking on this promotion. And it really just started to decline my quality of life.
Right.
How I felt, how I looked, what I cared about, how involved I was in the day-to-day operations of my home. And the job actually even made me get ill. I developed, just by the environment that I was working in, it was really, really cold or really, really hot. So I developed like a respiratory infection, and it took me off of work for some months,
Right.
which looking back was a blessing in disguise, because in that moment is what led me and you to having conversations about, okay, you've been with this company for 13 years. This don't look like it's working out. Okay, yes, taking this last promotion was definitely probably not conducive to your lifestyle, but you were doing it for, the family growth.
It was a big financial jump
It
as
was a
well.
big financial jump. That's for the family growth. But here we are now.
Here we are now.
What are you going to do? What do you want to do? And that is how my business birthed.
Yeah.
That is how my business birthed. And I just remember sometimes having to stay on the phone with you my whole drive because it was too foggy. And I was scared to drive in dark fog, or I was tired. And once I stepped foot into the workplace, when I tell you the stress happened as soon as I put my key in the door. I barely had any time to think, breathe, use the bathroom, or eat in that environment.
How many of us are like that, though? And don't forget that. But I just wanted to point out what you just said.
I was miserable.
I don't want people to overlook how our jobs can cause so much mental health, mental
Workplace.
illness, mental decline when you're doing something that you don't love or that you don't like, or that's not bringing any satisfaction towards you or for for your well-being. Working in the workplace 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and 12 hours a day, and you don't really like it.
Listen, that is one of the other quickest ways to experience mental decline.
Yes.
But, you know, like you said, you don't like it. But a lot of us, we do it because we feel like it's for financial gain, you know, for our families, you know, to make our situations go round and round, which is why I did it. I had other promotions within the company, but this one had seemed so promising. And when I got there, it was nothing like what I thought. It was terrible. And my mental health declined so rapidly that I don't even think I was there for a year.
Now you were sick
before my butt had to sit down.
You got sick. It was you can barely breathe.
I could barely breathe.
And that was a bad time.
That was a bad time, and it was bad before I got sick because you were basically handling every single thing in the household.
Yeah.
We had absolutely no relationship. All you did was make sure I went to bed, make sure I got up.
Can you imagine a man not being able to just to get that good loving, that good tender rubbing, that good tender, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Look at how they say in the baby, nah, mean.
You play too much.
Can you imagine how stressed out I was? My brain was about to explode. Not to mention, I had got a sick around right before that as well. All of this was happening, and I wasn't getting.
And we bought our second home around that time too. It was so much happening, and my mental health was, when I say trash, like trash. And back then, I did not have the tools that I have now because I wasn't self-aware and diving into mental health and all the things at that point. I literally was running a rat race.
Can I give like one of the biggest hacks though? Because
sure,
we share our life experiences on here. We've dealt with mental health. We dealt with everything. Everything we've dealt with. We give our life experience. We've been married a while,
right?
Over 12 years and some change now, that we can talk about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mental health was declining in one of my darker moments when this was birthed, when Big Dog Talk podcast was birthed, and I was at my darkest moment, one of my darkest moments that I ever been through, and this is why I was like, okay, I have to introduce this to people because I know I'm not the only one. I just know I'm the only one, one of the few that's willing to have the courage to talk about it because I don't have no image.
Right.
I don't care what people think about me.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you know, because I was always the hope messenger. On Instagram, I always gave hope.
Yep.
But everybody always saw me from a light of being positive all the time, not knowing that I was having mental struggles internally.
Yep.
So when I realized that that my power, I've gained more power, but even by being more vulnerable, but my hack I found out this is why I say it's so important to deal with your internal dark world, dealing with what your experience from your childhood, because if you don't face your childhood trauma, it usually turns into adult drama in the future, years down the road.
Say that again.
If you don't face your childhood trauma, it usually turns and spills over into adult drama. True life. So a major hack is going back and dealing with everything, every thought, every dark area in your life. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a scary journey. And once you outgrow one area, something else will pop up along the journey.
Yeah.
Once you figure this out, something else will pop up on the journey. And sometimes you have to take a break. This is the beauty of it, but you have to become comfortable with living in darkness by dealing with darkness. And sometimes you need it. I wish I would have had a life coach.
Right.
And I wish I would have had more support.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Right.
But this is why we created this, because we wanted to make it normal here. But dealing with your internal world is a major hack. And why? Because it creates space mentally. It creates it creates more mental real estate in your mind, especially like when life hits. After I've dealt with everything internally from my childhood through my adult trauma, I dealt with all of that. I've cleared up my mental real estate. Now, when life decides to hit me again, I have the capacity
to
deal with what's going on in my life
and cope with it
and cope with it in a much healthier way, where at first, if I didn't deal with everything that I've from my past, I don't have the capacity and the weight to deal with any more. I can't take no more.
Right.
Imagine how many people are going around with the mindset of I just can't take no more because I haven't dealt with the other BS, whether it be childhood, teenage, or adult trauma.
It's all yes. There are some experiences that we've all have had that may have impacted our brain negatively that we need to deal with.
We have to deal with it. If we how do we know if we have to deal with it? Because we constantly think about it, or when something comes up, it makes us feel a certain type of way.
Yes.
You know, we're walking around and we're nasty. People asking you, why are you mean all the time? Why do you nag so much? Why don't you smile? You know, we have the self-observer.
Yep.
We have to observe self and have these real conversations with self.
Well said. And I think, I also want to talk about what is good mental health too.
Okay.
But before that, I want to say that like in more recent years, you talking about hacks, I just kind of want to piggyback on that. In more recent years, I feel like you have been my hack because you are a life coach. You have been on this journey for over a decade, like a very long time. And I've watched you start from like a baby to, in my eyes, really being like a sensei, at this point. And there's been some really, really dark moments where, grief or, dealing with healing from, certain things I experienced in my life where I literally would have sessions with you about coach me through this because I don't have the tools. Like sometimes, and sometimes too with mental health that we have to understand, sometimes we just get so inundated and overwhelmed that we really don't know what we should do next. Like you said, I just can't, I can't take it no more. And then we just become defensive and then the negativity creeps in. And so I literally will explode. I literally have used you in the past, 4 years or so as my life coach. And it's made the world of difference because I then felt empowered.
Right. That's the goal.
I then felt empowered that I had a cheat code.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
It makes a big difference. I didn't
have to sit in my dark space by myself, rehearsing and replaying, yes, the things that we know from our life experiences have held us down mentally. Instead of rehearsing it by working with you as my husband, but also my life coach, it helped me to get out of it faster with a plan. Because
here's the thing, everybody's situation is different and it has to be tailored around your makeup, your life, your brain, your experiences. Yes. So even as a life coach, I don't give answers. I pull them out of you and you discover the answers.
Yep, that's true. Which has been very frustrating.
Sometimes it would make you not even want to talk to me. Like,
oh yeah, I'll tell your butt off. Never mind, don't want to talk about it.
Because every experience is different. I remember not too long ago, one of your recent, not recent, but one of your few years, he was like, I think I'm depressed. And I said, you are not depressed. You are fighting against depression. Yeah. And I feel like I believe that was a great pivotal moment because you almost accepting something that wasn't reality. You were fighting against it. You were getting up. Yes. You had your routine. Yep. Life was beating your ass, but you kept getting up, going to the gym, reading, going to certain events that was creating, opening a space for you to relieve and to you were like, you looked at me like, I think I'm depressed. And I looked at you and said, you are not depressed.
Yep. You are fighting against
You are
it.
fighting, and that's a major difference. You are not in a sunken place. You are fighting. You're in a battle right now, and y'all going toe to toe, and it feels like you're losing, but you have the tools to continue to fight back. You got the weapons, you
Yep.
got your faith, you got therapy, you got a life coach, you got exercising, you got reading, you got eating healthy,
Yep.
you have your friends, you have your environment, you have
You locked and
you
loaded.
locked and loaded. You are ammo, you have everything in your clip to fight this battle.
I mean, I remember when you looked at me and said, "No, you're fighting against it." It was like a big aha moment. Like, you fucking right. You right. Man, I got my butt up and I was thinking differently from that very moment of that conversation. I am not depressed. I'm not about to accept that. I'm fighting against it. And everything that I'm doing every day when I wake up is keeping me out of that state of depression.
Exactly.
I was so empowered. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was only like a couple years ago. I remember it like yesterday.
I have to tell you
Yep.
some of my secrets that I do to build mental resilience. Am I moving too fast?
Yeah, so let's get into it. No, you right, you right on track. So we talked about mental health. So now we need to talk about what is good mental health. What is that? And so for me, good mental health, I know what it doesn't mean. Good mental health is not the absence of mental illness.
Break it down.
So just to say, like, okay, for example, today, sitting in this chair, doing this podcast, I feel like I am in good mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, I might be faced with some mental illness crisis. So in order to be in good mental health, that doesn't mean that you won't experience some mental crises. We have to learn to accept that too, because mental health happens on a continuum basis. It's throughout our lifetime. We're going to experience emotions and behaviors throughout our entire lifetime that's going to impact the wellness of our mental health.
Correct. That's facts. That's facts. A major hack for me when it comes to my mental. So, what is good mental health for me is being able to observe and accept your present moment of how you are feeling mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all around the board, and accept it. Today, I'm having a bad day. I accept it. I accept also that I can go to bed and try again tomorrow. I can express it to my group, my wife, my friends. Hey, I'm having a tough day. I feel like I'm getting ready to explode. I accept where I'm at.
Yes. Yes.
Without putting a judgment on it and being embarrassed. That's good mental health for me, knowing that it comes with a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's a good mental health.
Knowing that it's up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that life is good and bad, happy and sadness, and knowing that I have the tools and the capability and I'm equipped enough to deal with what comes to me at that present time.
Right.
No matter how I feel, if I feel at my lowest, it's okay for me to say I feel low.
Right.
This is mental health. This is being the manager. This is growing above, spiritually above mental health.
Right.
Being the orchestrator almost. Mm-hmm. Even when you don't, being able to say, okay, I'm in a storm, and this type of storm, I just have to weather it.
Right.
I can't do anything. So what's a good mental health for me is it's a certain level of mastery of spirituality and awareness.
Right.
And accepting where you are at that present moment.
Because your mental health can fluctuate within one day.
That's life.
Within one day, your mental health can fluctuate. And there is no period. Like, oh, I've gone through so much in my life. I've gone through losses and griefs and this and that, and now my mental health is great. Period. That doesn't exist.
You have to work it. It's a muscle that you have to work
Continuum.
over
Yes.
and over. And if you're not intentional about it, see this, we give information. We learn, like I said before, we are a world of knowledge, but we lack application.
Yes.
We know these things, but it's harder to apply these things. If we don't practice these things, your mental health will decline without any storms hitting.
Yes. Yeah.
Without any storms hitting.
Yes.
Oh, I'm okay. I don't need to wake up and say what I'm grateful for.
Because you put a period after it.
I don't need to be
Yeah.
appreciative. You know, listen, I'm gonna give y'all a hack. I wake up, Big Charles do things. I put myself in mentally tough situations every day to condition my mind for tough times. Because in my mind, I am the Jesus of my family. I am the one that everybody depends on. And when you are the one that everybody depends on, less than often, the one that everyone depends on usually get checked on the least. So I have to build a mental catalyst where I am tough in the worst times. So we can survive the storm.
Yeah.
I remember we were going through a phase where it was just tragic and my kids was looking at me like, Pops, how are we going to handle this? What do you mean by doing certain things to challenge your mental toughness, Big Charles? I do things that are hard daily. You know, I said this before in one of the other podcasts, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. This is science. This is where the will lives. Doctors and scientists have done their homework, and according to the Huberman lab, this is where the will lives. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is where the will lives. And every time you do something that you don't want to do, like going to the gym when you don't want to go, like eating that healthy meal when you don't want to eat that healthy meal, doing something that's challenging to your normal routine. The more you do that, the stronger your will becomes.
Denying self sometimes.
Denying self.
Yes.
I want to go out and party, but I know it's not the right thing to do. Or I want to go and do this. I want to go hang out with the friends, but that's not the right thing to do. I want to go. It's not the right thing. I'm going to make a more sound decision, a tougher decision that brings more long-term gratification. In that moment, your will is being built. So I do things daily to build my will. Because Big Charles knows that hard times hits everyone.
Right.
And we have to condition our mind. Just for example, you can get hit. Let's just say something really tragic hit you in your life.
Right.
Right. Well, I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna give an example. They have this young lady, this older lady, she's like 60, 70 years old that I work with. Her daughter died last year. That is something that's unimaginable. I have no understanding of experiencing that, and pray that I never have to witness that.
Absolutely.
She was in such a dark place last year. Depressed. I don't even know, but I'm doing things just to make her smile when she's at work. Few months later, almost a year later, her brother died. And I'm giving you this example I'm getting ready to break this down to you. Last year, her daughter died. 1 year later, her brother died. And I asked her last week, I said, how are you feeling? She said, well, experiencing my daughter's death prepared me so much mentally, because to me, that's like the worst experience that you can possibly feel in life, to experience your child dying before you. And that brought me to such a dark place. Now that my brother, I knew that he just passed away, I can handle this one a lot more differently because of this situation that I experienced with my daughter. It built up something in the mind that gave her the capacity to handle this situation in a different way,
Right.
in a more accepting way. Like, I'm down about it. I'm sad that he had to go, but he was in so much pain.
Right.
Like, I'm hearing that she learned how to deal with grief in a different way
Yeah.
based off of her experience with her child.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless her.
So it's a
That was heavy.
no, it's really it's
was
heavy because
heavy.
we have to think about it though. Mental health, it like you said earlier, our genetics have to do a lot with it. Our brain chemistry have to have a lot to do with it. Our life experiences, our social environment, the way we are wired to deal with, or the way we've learned how to cope with tragedy.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And which is why, like, to talk about mental health, I felt that it was important to talk about what good mental health is.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we're going to talk about it. And a lot of what you said for yourself was around, like, just being self-aware. Like, knowing that I'm not my best self today, or I'm not showing up as my best self today, but don't criticize
That's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm aware of that. Excuse me, guys. I'm aware of that. I know how to counter it, and it is what it is. Tomorrow's another day.
So I'm gonna get another chance.
Exactly.
And sometimes you have to express it. I remember a pivotal moment with my children when I was having so much back pain. From and carpal tunnel and neck pain from my job for years. I was so grumpy. Because pain alters
your mood.
Your attitude.
It's very mood altering. What are you saying? Yes.
I had to sit my family down.
Yes.
Children, this is what's going on. Daddy's in a lot of pain. I'm in a lot of pain. I have my patience in short.
Yep.
I can't do what I want to do. I'm a very athletic, mobile parent. I can't move like that.
Right.
And I had to just express it to them. And having their listening ear and having them to understand that this is a phase that I will get through it. And just telling the truth about it.
They were able to give you compassion, which automatically changed your mental around it.
It created more space for me mentally.
Yes. Now you have compassion.
I don't have to hide it. I don't have to mask it.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, this is what's going on. This is what's going on in my life.
Right.
So, just to recap it again once. One, a book that I recommend is Cleaning Up My Mental Mess by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. 2.
So I wanted to talk about something real quick because I wanted to talk about something that I just discovered personally.
Okay.
From managing my mental health. So shout out to Passage Nautical. They now put on Uncork My Creativity painting event. Sorry guys, allergies. It's called Uncork My Creativity.
Start over again. You said Passage.
Shout out to Passage Nautical. They're located in it's a yacht company.
Yeah.
They're located in Point Richmond. They now put on an event called Uncork Your Creativity, which is what we would call like a paint party, but it's more than that because
it's therapeutic from what
when you walk into the event, there's people there with amazing energy, first of all. Everybody's coming there for different purposes. And so I went a couple of weeks ago with my daughter, and I had so much anxiety around it because I do consider myself a creative, but I do not consider myself a painter. So when I got there and we went around the table and we all were asked to share a little bit about ourselves, and I said to them, I am really anxious about this because art is not my forte.
You really didn't want to go.
And I didn't want to go because activities like painting, I'm going to say that I always say activities like painting and yoga are too slow for my brain, but I also think that I force that upon myself too, and I'm not open to them to really see what they will do for my brain. So I went, and like I told the people, there was wine, so that definitely got me there. But when I got there and I sat down and, we did some breathing techniques and we meditated and, we had the opportunity to go pick up our brushes and pick the colors that we wanted. It took me like 10 minutes to actually start painting because I was still telling myself, I am not good at this. I am not going to do a good job. I'm intimidated by it. I'm not going to do it. The moment I put that paintbrush in that paint and put that paint on that canvas, something inside of me just ignited. It was one of the most therapeutic things that I have done in a very long time. Like, I didn't want to stop.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Uncork Your Creativity.
It's in Point Richmond. If you guys want to know anything about that, DM us, and we will give you the information. But I think it's a fee as well.
Yeah, there is a fee. It's $65 a fee. Your canvas, your paint, is all included. There's snacks, there's wine. It's like what we'll call a sip and paint, but it's more than that. The experience is more than that. And so I got so engulfed in my painting that I didn't finish it. Like, I just kept getting more ideas of what I wanted to do with my painting. So I'm going back this Thursday to finish my project. And I would have never thought that I would find free painting so therapeutic. Like me, like sitting down and painting and being calm and seeing what my mind is telling me, what colors I want to use, what am I trying to translate onto this canvas? Like, I would have never thought, but it has just become one of my new favorite therapeutic activities to maintain good mental health for me.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you were gone for hours too.
I was gone for hours, and I cannot wait to go back to finish my painting.
I'm happy for you, though.
I cannot wait.
I'm happy for you.
I cannot wait.
That's good. That's really good.
So I wanted to share that because sometimes, when we step
outside of your comfort zone, because you didn't want to go.
I was not interested, but I had to go because of, I'm very connected and I love the owner of Passage Nauticals. So I had to go. It was one of those commitments I had to make. And she really wanted me there. And I stepped outside of my comfort zone. And to my surprise, like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It really did something for my mental. And it really just did something for just the energy that I was even feeling that day.
Who want to meet Big Shay? at the art gallery.
Meet me at the gallery.
Can I call it that?
Yeah.
Who want to meet Big Shay in Point Richmond at the art gallery?
And uncork your creativity.
Straight, we going to make it a thing then.
Yeah.
We going to make it a thing.
Yes.
We going to make it a thing.
Meet up with me.
Big Shay.
Meet up with me. The next one is going to be on the 30th of May.
Paint party.
Paint party. Wine, snacks, good energy, diverse people, just good support and a positive environment. You get from it what you put into it.
Talk that talk then.
I'm coughing, y'all.
And Big Shay got bad allergies.
Bad allergies, y'all.
But before we get out of here, we're just going to do a recap, man. Like we said, we told you what mental health was earlier. We also said the factors that influence mental health, which is genetics, brain chemistry, life experiences, social environment. We also talked about what is good mental health and what is bad mental health. When did we realize that our mental health was declining?
Yep.
We talked about all of these things. We also even recommended a book called Cleaning Up My Mental Mess by Dr. Carolyn Leaf.
Yes.
Guys.
We also recommended an event, a therapeutic event by Passage Nautical. Uncork Your Creativity. Join me, Big Shay, on May 30th if you want to see what I'm talking about. That's one way that I'm going to start using to manage my mental health outside of what I already do. We actually gave 2 events.
Oh, we did. Because of the brother Kariga Bailey, the men's wellness.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
In Oakland, he does it twice a month.
Yes.
Guys.
Hit Big Charles up if you want to go spend some time with Big Charles.
If you want to go spend some time with Big Charles.
This is stuff we like to do.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Step into the bad side. Woo, woo,
listen.
Woo.
The more aware you become, the better life gets.
Yes.
Guys, we love y'all.
We put it on the table today.
We put it on the table. This was a lot. Matter of fact, we're going to have to break this one down in probably the 2 parts.
Yeah. Yep. This is going to be 2 parts, y'all. We put a lot on the table today, but I'm really proud and happy that we were able to
Tap in.
give some quality.
Because this was like church today.
It was good. I liked it.
We're going to leave in 10 minutes, y'all.
No, give me 5 more minutes.
Give me 5 more minutes. 30 minutes later, I'm huffing and puffing.
He's sweating, huffing and puffing. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Hey, yeah, me too. Hey,
My
listen.
after church snack.
Hey, I love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting Big Dog Talk Podcast. Y'all, we love y'all so much.
Meet us at those events.
Meet us at the
Hang out with
events.
us.
Hang out with us. Peace. And shout out to Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
Great episode.